Okay, this is Mark coming to you from Baker's Green Acres, and I've got another really cool thing that I'm doing here. And the background on this thing is it's a an egg incubator, all right? So I got this off a guy like 12 years ago, and the idea was that we would buy eggs and put them in here, or we would have our own brood flock, and we would put the eggs in here and incubate our own eggs, hatch them out, and those would be the eggs, or those would be the chicks that go into our pastured poultry outfit and all that stuff. Well, because we kicked it into overdrive, had 30 chicken tractors going, there really wasn't time to experiment with this or even do anything with it. So it got stuck in a corner, and that's where it was left. And it was brought back to the shop, and I got to looking at it, and I thought, you know what, let's take a look at this thing, because it's really well made. It's old, for sure. I mean, it was built out of wood, and I think this is cypress is what this wood is. Got a UL sticker on it right there, Underwriters Laboratory. You know, so it's got to be safe. But it's definitely old school. I mean, it's got fuses in it. The heating element is a wire. You probably can't see it. It's just a coiled wire, and it heats up pretty hot. So the whole thing, you know, I'm not going to leave it in the building to burn it, to run it. But I plugged it in last night. It came right on. And so what I want to do is, I have a lot of bread. I get this junk bread, and it's good stuff. I get a lot of it. I get more than I need. And this is cute. Look at this over there. My buddy's looking in. But I want to use this thing as a dehydrator, because I'm not going to be hatching out any chicks. If I was, I wouldn't use this. I have a smaller one, and I probably will. I probably will do that now that we're not going to be doing them for production. I might do that, but that's for another day. But I want to, you know, dehydrate this bread. And while I'm at it, maybe I want to dehydrate other things, like kale. I mean, if I got a bunch of kale, and I had this thing rigged up, and I had it so that I could depend on it, and it worked good, I could put kale in there, I could dehydrate it, hang this stuff up, run it with bread, and maybe kelp, maybe hay, through my feed mill, I might be able to make a really nice feed for just my chickens. So I'm really excited about this. I'm looking at this thinking that I don't want it to be in the building, because I think it's probably a hazard. So I think what I'll do is I'll put some siding on it, and then put a small solar collector on it, and then be able to set it up on some cinder blocks outside, and that's where it stays. So when we want to dehydrate stuff, we can just take these trays off. These need to be cleaned and probably painted, but we can take them off, and we could take them, say, into a food prep area and prep vegetables and stuff, lay it on there, and then bring it out and put them in it. And it dehydrated this bread last night in a half an hour. I mean, it's not as dry as it could be, but it's really dry. And I just did it right before I went to bed, so I didn't want to leave the thing run all night. I was doing it like 10 o'clock at night. So another thing that we got going at the same time is these old pieces of tin. We lay bread out on them, and in a few hours in full sun, that bread is completely dehydrated, and it's ready to go in, you know, bags. And then when we get around to grind and feed, we can just run it through and make a nice feed. The thing about bread is, if there's any moisture in it, it'll mold. It'll turn, and green and black mold is bad, and it's bad for chicks too, real bad for chicks. So we have to make sure it's just as dry as it can possibly be. Okay, so that's what I got going here, kind of in between things. I'm not really working on this today. I just have it sitting here and going to run it a little bit and see what I think. I got some other stuff that I have to do But this is pretty exciting, especially growing kale. It's Mark coming to you from Baker's Green Acres. Remember, anyone can farm.